18 This Morning with Joe LePage and Laura Kirtley. News from where you live.
We had 2 students and a teacher injured in an incident that occurred in the science lab classroom today.
2 students are recovering in the hospital after a science lab goes awry. It's 6:30. Thanks for joining us here on News Channel 18 this morning.
Also coming up in today's top stories, allegations of a Lafayette police officer's misconduct are reviewed in a 6-hour-long hearing.
Plus, good news for Subaru owners and a local plant that manufactures those vehicles.
And some good news for people in our area is the fact that the rain has subsided, at least for a little while. Meteorologist Sarah McKenna joins us now from the Forecast Center. Not as windy. A little bit more rain in our forecast. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Now, we are seeing a few random scattered showers across our area, but for the most part, we're just dealing with the cooler temperatures right now, so we're kind of getting the elements taken away. First it was the wind, now it's the rain. 45 degrees, the current temperature. You can see the wind has picked up a little bit, now at 7 miles an hour. Going off to the bus stop, it does look like we're going to be seeing a cooler day, 44 degrees, a temperature we can expect at 8 a.m. The wind will remain the same. The clouds are going to stick around. Scattered showers. Grab that umbrella, though, before you step out the door. We have those rain chances coming up in the forecast. I'll have details in just a little bit.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much. Let's recap this morning's top stories. 2 students and a teacher are burned at Wainwright Middle School in an experiment gone wrong. A 14-year-old boy was flown to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. A 15-year-old was treated and taken to a Lafayette hospital. The teacher of the science class was also treated at the scene for minor burns. Allegations of misconduct by a Lafayette police officer were reviewed last night. A merit board spent 6 hours in a closed hearing regarding charges against Officer Charles Williams, Jr. Those charges include unsatisfactory performance, disregarding a request for assistance, and not filing a department report. And a Chicago man is sentenced to 10 years in prison for dealing marijuana. In March, Alpignano Roman was stopped on Interstate 65 for weaving and crossing the center line. Police arrested Roman for operating while intoxicated. A search of his car turned up 11 pounds of marijuana.
A top rating in all 4 crash tests. It's high marks for locally made cars by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Every car produced at Lafayette's SIA plant got high marks in front, side, rear, and rollover testing. SIA Senior Vice President Tom Easterday says the company puts a special emphasis on safety when it builds vehicles, making sure all systems are in place and working. Bob Rohrman Auto Group Subaru salesman Jeff Young says while we're approaching that time of year, it's when all those safety features pay off the most.
The best time to get in a Subaru and test drive a Subaru is in the winter months, because then those things are not visible to the eye become very apparent as you test drive the vehicles.
And so it's very important in the building of the vehicle to make sure that those safety systems are installed correctly, that they not only work but work when they need to.
Well, as Sarah's been mentioning for the past several days, this week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week.
And one of the major things you need to protect as the temperature plummets is your car. We've got a car expert with us this morning, former NASCAR crew chief and racing analyst Larry McReynolds joins us now. Larry, thank you so much for waking up and joining us this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure to hang out with you a little bit.
Well, Larry, let's start at the very beginning here. What's the first thing that car owners need to know as it gets colder? You know, I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to my poor car. And in the winter, it takes a beating. What do we need to know?
Well, I think one thing when you think about the winter months, and I pretty much say that's December, January, and February, when we're going to encounter cold, freezing temperatures and some pretty treacherous driving conditions. Of course, it's important to take care of your car all 12 months out of the year, but the cold, freezing temperatures, that's the time of year that's the hardest on all the mechanical parts about your car. Things like making sure you have the right antifreeze in your cooling system, choosing the right gasoline, the right engine oil. If you do all these things together combined each year before preparing for winter driving, it's only going to add years to your car, but more importantly to the heartbeat of the car, which is the actual engine itself.
Any misconceptions when dealing with your car in the winter months? I know in our own newsroom we've got a debate going. Do you start your car in the morning, let it run a little bit, let it idle, and then drive away after it's warmed up, or you just start up and let it go? Your thoughts, Mr. Racing Analyst?
Yeah, I think actually cranking it and letting it run just a little bit is not a bad thing. You know, they don't crank these NASCAR engines and just drive right off pit road and get right up to speed. But I think a lot of things that will help you with that is the right selection of the engine oil. And I use a full synthetic blend in my car. The great thing about a full synthetic blend is it's a great lubricant for engine parts, but it pretty much is not so thick that in cold temperatures it becomes like molasses. Now, when you use a Pennzoil brand, no matter what grade you use, whether it's conventional, full synthetic, or synthetic blend, is they offer an awesome program with their brand of oil, and it's pretty much a 300,000-mile warranty program. It goes into effect 60 days after you go to their oil change, and it's fully transferable. And I know a lot of us don't like messing with signing up with things. It can give you a little bit of a hassle, but they make it so easy because you do their oil and filter change, you do regular routine maintenance, keep the receipts, and voila, you are signed up. There's nothing else to do.
Okay, now I got to ask a racing question here. You worked with Dale Sr. for a number of years. You're watching Jimmie Johnson now. Is he one of the best drivers you've ever seen, possibly the best ever?
Well, I think he's definitely ranked right there with the best of the best. But you know, the great thing about Jimmie Johnson, it takes the whole package to be successful. A-Rod did not win the World Series. The New York Yankees won the World Series. The 48-team Hendrick Motorsports, that's the group, including Jimmie Johnson, that'll be going after this 4th consecutive championship.
A wise man, Larry McReynolds.
Well, thank you, Larry, so much for joining us this morning. We need that advice. We get up early in the cold, so we need to start our cars and make sure they're in good running order. Right. Thanks so much.
Well, it was my pleasure. There's a lot of websites you can go out there too and check all this information out. You know, check on the gasoline like Shell, Rain-X products like that. But one website I love, it's like one-stop shopping. It's called moretipsforyou.com. Check it out.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much. We'll have more of your local news coming up next, but first let's take a look here at Ticket Trivia.